Hello there everybody and welcome back to Movie Squirm. Today I'm going to be doing another end of month ranking where I talk about all of the new horror movie releases that I watched in July 2025 from the worst to the best. Now just a heads up, I am from the UK, so some of these releases may differ from your country, especially if you're in the US. So just letting you guys know there. And I only usually do these videos if I've got at least 4 movies to talk about. If it was just 1, 2 or 3, I probably wouldn't do a ranking, but I have done one for every month this year so far. So if you guys want to check any of them out, I'll leave it in the link down below. And don't forget, at the end of the year, I'll do a big ranking of all the horror movies I watch from worst to best. So let's just get into it now. In 5th place, coming in 5th place is going to be Squirm, which was a straight to Netflix film that really spoke to me when I heard the concept. In fact, I wanted to watch it straight away when I heard what it was about. And when it just came out of nowhere, I pressed play that night. Now, this is about a Muay Thai fighter taking on a load of zombies in a hospital of all locations. Now, that spoke to me for 3 reasons. 1, I love horror movies that take place in hospitals. I think it's a great location to have. 2, it's a zombie movie, and I do love a good zombie flick. And 3, and more importantly, is that this guy was a Muay Thai fighter. And I used to do Muay Thai a few years ago for quite a while there. So, it just felt very relatable to me. I couldn't wait to see this guy using his martial arts skills to kick some zombie ass, basically. And whilst that was all cool, after about 10, 20, 30 minutes, it just became a little bit stale, and I kind of wanted this guy to use more weapons and sharp objects to take the zombies out. Just have a little bit more of blood and gore on screen there. It just came repetitive, put it that way. Because you do love zombie movies, where you're just seeing zombie guts flying everywhere, aren't you? Because people are using swords and everything like that. I think that's what this movie needed a bit more. Now, this guy was a great fighter and everything. You can tell he's practiced this martial arts skill and he's got it down to a T. He was really good at it, but just, yeah, I just kind of just got a little bit of the same thing there. Also, it asks you to get really invested in the characters, and I just don't think there was many points where there was any character development for our main protagonist, this kid he's got to save, and his wife or girlfriend who is also in the hospital. I think she was like a nurse or something, and he's got to save her before this big bomb goes off. And he's going through all the floors, taking on the zombies and stuff like that. It's fun in places, but the movie definitely relies on you to have some edge of your seat moments where you're like, oh my God, is this guy going to save this kid? Is this guy going to save his girlfriend here? Are they going to get out of this hospital in time? But you just don't care. You can't get into what the movie is asking you to get invested in. Also, there was a real cool moment that I thought, okay, this movie is definitely going to jump up a star or something here if this scene plays out the way I think it's going to. So this guy is sort of having a real battle on his hands with this SWAT team member, and the guy gives him a run for his money, but our main protagonist kind of wins the fight there. And then right after it, this SWAT team member gets bit by a zombie and he rises up again. You think, oh, this is going to be another kick-ass fight scene, and it just comes to nothing. It had so much potential, that scene. And I thought, yeah, this movie just isn't really working for me whatsoever. The zombies as well were CGI'd at times. There's a plenty of blood and gore here and there if you're a bit of a gore hound, but I did want more of it, hence why I wanted them to use all these different weapons and stuff. But overall, yeah, when it was all said and done, I was left very disappointed, unfortunately. So in 5th place is a letdown of a movie, and that is Squirm. In 4th place is going to be Push, which is a Shudder original. And I thought this movie sounded very interesting. It's about this realtor who's got to sell this house, but the night she is in this house, she's got to stay there because something happens with her car outside. It's been tampered with. And while she is there, this guy enters the house, basically. It's a home invasion film. Not to mention that this realtor is 9 months heavily pregnant there. So that sort of gives her a little bit of a disadvantage, let's say. She's quite vulnerable there. She's not very quick off her feet at times and stuff like that. So that made for an interesting concept. And whilst for the first half of the movie, I was really digging it and getting into it and thinking, oh, it's quite tension building, this movie, you know, I'm kind of worried for this woman. It kind of just fizzles out and doesn't realise its full potential, really. Now, I thought the main actress was quite decent, you know, she was on camera most of the movie. I mean, nearly every scene, it's just her getting followed around this house. I think she was good with her emotions and everything like that. I could see a few things coming, like the shadows in the background and the little attempts at jump scares. Kind of felt like the movie The Strangers, the original film from 2008, which I'm not a fan of, by the way, whatsoever. But it had little, you know, little inklings of that, if you like. And when it all sort of started to pan out, I was just like, yeah, I'm not really feeling this. I didn't think the villain was all that great, to be honest. The explanations that we kind of get and don't get at the end of the movie left me wanting a little bit more of to what was going on here. And the movie just feels a little bit, like GM, a little bit repetitive. I mean, a lot of it is this woman just walking down hallways in the shadows, and it's a very, very dark movie. Now, if you've got Shudder, guys, you will know that Shudder's quality isn't great. I think most of it is in 720p, so the dark lit hallways and the dark scenes, which is most of the film, don't really work too well on that streaming services. Not really the movie's fault, more Shudder problem, but overall, I was just left feeling a little bit flat with this film. I almost gave it 3 stars on Letterboxd, but I did knock it down to the 2.5 after about half an hour of thinking about it after the movie ended. But overall, it's not too bad. There might be some people out there who liked it a lot more than me, but I've heard this is very alike the movie Inside, which I have not seen yet. It's been high on my watch list for years, and believe it or not, I have got the Blu-ray on order from Amazon in the post. So I'll be watching that very soon, coincidentally. But yeah, I can't really say if it's too much like Inside or not, but I've heard it's very alike. It's just that Inside is the better movie. So overall, yeah, just a movie that could have been so much more. So that is Push. Okay, these top 3 films, guys, I had a really good time with. And in third place is Monster Island, another Shudder exclusive, I believe. I don't think it's a Shudder original, but Shudder got it on their streaming service. And I heard a lot of people talking about this over in my horror movie social groups on Facebook and stuff like that. I was like, this sounds interesting. I didn't even know this was coming to Shudder, even though I look up what's coming to Shudder every month. I just must have missed it. And I had a real good time with this one, guys. A movie that's only like 85 minutes long, absolutely flies by, but you're having so much fun with it. Now, this sees these 2 characters who are arch enemies. We've got a British guy and a Japanese guy in the middle of, World War II. 1944, I believe this movie takes place. And they're on this ship, and the ship basically sinks. And these 2 guys make it to this island, but they're chained together for reasons that the movie will get into at the start of the film. And they've got to find a way to work together, even though they are on opposite sides. And I really like the way the movie sort of spoke to audiences a little bit, where, these guys can get on, they can become friends, they can work together to get out of this situation, even though they are meant to be enemies because some politicians say they should be. It's not really down to these soldiers who are forced out into the war, because they probably all don't want to be there themselves. And whilst they are on this island, there is this monster basically hunting them down, and this really harkened back to 1940s, 50s really, 1950s, 60s monster movies, because this creature really did look like something out of Creature from the Black Lagoon, but it is a absolute wrecking machine. Like, this thing is tearing people's heads off, ripping body limbs off, fighting other wildlife and ripping them apart and stuff. It's not a monster to be messed with, even though it kind of looks quite ridiculous and looks like a guy in a suit, but that was all the more charm. It really felt like you were watching one of them movies from back then. So if you are a fan of them movies, guys, I highly suggest that you check this one out. There was plenty of practical blood and gore here, 2 great characters, although one of them, the British guy, wasn't acted the best, I must admit, but I really related to the Japanese guy a little bit more. But I did like both of them. I just wish the British guy was acted a little bit better there. But they all really work well together on screen. There are moments where they are not on screen and the movie does falter a little bit in the middle there, but when they are together and working together, that's when the movie really does shine. It's a real character piece centered around these two characters, and that's where it is, that's where it's at its strongest, really. So I kind of wish they'd done that a little bit more. But yeah, seeing these two guys fight off this monster in a third act Predator style movie was absolutely awesome. So I highly recommend this one, guys. I had a great time with it. So that is Monster Island. Next up, guys, is going to be I Know What You Did Last Summer. The same title as the 1997 version. I really hate when we do that. Now, this might be a controversial placement in this list because I've heard a lot of people slate this movie to death, and that is fair enough. But the writing in this film is absolutely awful. And when I think about it a lot more, I thought, yeah, there was quite a few plot holes there and silly decisions. But I can't lie, I had an absolutely brilliant time with this at the cinema. It was just so entertaining, and I did not go in expecting a masterpiece. I think the first three movies, this trilogy that we got before it, is a decent trilogy. Well, it's not really. I mean, we got a good movie there, a watchable movie with so many problems, and a bad movie. So it's a kind of a mixture of everything. So I went into this not really expecting too much, but it's a slasher film that is a slasher film, basically. I mean, it doesn't try to be over-ambitious or anything, and that's where a lot of people will say that's where the problem lies, I suppose. If you're going to do a legacy sequel, do it properly. But it is basically the same story as the first film with a little bit of a different twist on the ending, really. I mean, there's a lot of beats that follow the first film, but I don't know, I like the kills in this. They're nothing spectacular, nothing too memorable, but they're definitely the best kills in the entire franchise, because this franchise is not good for kills. I think this was just one that had the strongest kills in it. The group of characters, whilst they may be annoying to some people, I really liked them. I mean, I thought they were a fun group of characters to be around. They do bring the legacy characters back a little bit as well. I wish they had a little bit more to do, but it was still cool to see Freddie Prinze Jr. and Jennifer Love Hewitt in their respective roles here, doing their thing. And it was just one of them movies that kind of just flew by. I thought the pacing was really good. You know, I'm a slasher fan, guys. I do like story in my movies, you know, and I do like it to try and do something different at times, but I also don't mind it when it just does the slasher thing as well. I'm just a sucker for them, and this is one done exactly that. I really liked how we got a little bit more history of the town of Southport as well. Kind of made it feel like its own little location there, because great horror movies have great locations, don't they? Camp Crystal Lake, Elm Street, Haddonfield. So I tried to give a bit more emphasis on the history and the location of Southport there. And the fisherman definitely felt like he was at his strongest here. Like, he felt like much more of a dark presence and a more sinister, menacing Hulk of a character, who feel like these characters could not take him on because he was just such a, you know, a badass in this movie. I really liked the way the camera and stuff utilized him. And yeah, I mean, it was just, don't expect the world with this one, guys. But I had fun with it, and I would watch it again. I'm definitely going to pick up the 4K and everything. I don't think it's as good as the first movie, but on another day, it might be. I mean, I've done a ranking, guys, if you want to check it out. But spoiler alert, the first movie came in joint sort of first and second place with this one. So, yeah, if you're semi-interested in this movie, give it a go. But there are some ridiculous things that do happen, I'm not going to lie. And I can see everyone's negative point of view with it and kind of agree with them. But I could kind of look past it as well. There's just certain movies where I can kind of look past it. So that is I Know What You Did Last Summer in second place. Coming in first place, though, guys, is going to be Bring Her Back, quite easily in first place, to be honest. Now, I know the US got this a month or two before us, but we did get it in July. It was actually meant to be August, but they moved it back to July. And I gotta say, guys, this is 2 home runs now for the Philippou brothers. Can they make it 3 home runs with their next movie? I would probably bet on it that they can. Now, I really like how they both put this movie together and just brought a fresh, new, original story here. Even though it's a movie that deals with grief, and nearly every horror film that's came out this year is dealing with grief, which I'm kind of sick of, but this one has done it better than any other of them movies. Now, this sees this young brother and sister, played by, I'm just going to check his name here, Billy Barrett and Sora Wong. Now, them two are sort of step brother and sister, and their father is killed, and they have to go and live with this woman, this foster parent, played by Sally Hawkins. And when they get there, there's something just a little bit off with the Sally Hawkins character. And as a viewer, you're kind of like, oh, this is quite awkward to watch, but I can't take my eyes off it. I love it when movies get you invested like that, where you're just kind of on edge. You're not feeling quite right, and the characters in the movie kind of feel the same a little bit there. And we find out that they've got this other, like Sally Hawkins has got this other kid there who's going to be their new kind of sibling, if you like, foster sibling. There's something not right with this kid. I mean, he's just very strange and keeps himself to himself, doing some little weird things here and there in the house. And I can't say too much more than that, guys. But what I will say is Sally Hawkins gives possibly the best performance of the year so far. I thought she was absolutely fantastic in this film as this over-friendly but crazy woman who's definitely got a few skeletons in the closet, and you're just watching this movie waiting for it to unfold. You're guessing left, right and center what the hell is going on here, and you can't wait to see it all unravel. Like, each scene is done really well to give you something and feed you something a little bit more for the story. You really get invested in these characters. You definitely care about this brother or sister relationship here. And Sora Wong, who has never acted before in her life and is actually like almost fully blind, I believe, gave off a great performance here. And because of that, she is very vulnerable in this movie. You know, it gives her that vulnerability where her brother has got to look after her a little bit more, but you know, is he kind of getting in the way of Sally Hawkins definitely gives more appreciation to Sora Wong's character. This is done very early on in the movie, and her brother kind of feels pushed out a little bit there, but he kind of wants to latch onto his sister and protect her from everything. So it's kind of like a little three-way tug of war there, if you like. Thought that was a really cool concept of the movie. Now, I've done a full review on this, guys. If you want to go and check it out, I'll leave in the link down below with my other 2025 movie reviews, but I just can't get into it too much. But I explain it a lot better over there, if you know, kind of detailed there, and jump around the spoilers. But what I will say is you have definitely got to check this out if you are a horror movie fan, because one of the best of the year, definitely the best of this month. And I can't wait to see what these brothers do next. I am going to be looking out for everything that they are attached to now. And by the end of this film, I was kind of just like, wow, I've seen something really great there. So yeah, a fresh new original take on horror. Definitely worth checking out. My #1 movie of this month. And what I will say, guys, is you might wince a few times. I'm not easily displeasured when watching movies, but there was a couple of times there where I was just like, oh, holy shit. No, I couldn't really look at the screen, and that hardly ever happens when I watch horror movies. I think the last movie to do that was Saw X, where that woman was sort of cutting her own leg off there. But yeah, this happened a couple of times in this film, so just a heads up. There's a little bit of gore on screen, put it that way. So #1, in first place, is Bring Her Back. Okay, guys, hope you all enjoyed this video. What were your favourite movies of July? Is there anything I missed? Please let me know down below. And rank these movies in order if you've seen them, or, you know, just give it a top 3, whatever you want. I'll get back to you all, I promise. If horror is your sort of thing, guys, please give this video a like and subscribe to this channel. It really helped me out. Thanks, guys. You all take care, and I'll see you all in the next video.